Greetings, envoys, and welcome to Soulframe. I'm the Frame Runner, and in this video, I'll be guiding you through the essential information new players should know when starting Soulframe, updated for Preludes 10. This is going to be a very comprehensive guide, so I'll make sure to add timestamps if you're looking for something specific. Soulframe is a new title being developed by Digital Extremes, the same studio behind Warframe. And while it retains the same kind of live service repeatable content structure that Warframe players are familiar with, it shifts its perspective to a richly detailed open world fantasy setting rather than a sci-fi one. Soulframe is currently in a closed pre-alpha state, and if you'd like to get into the game, you can sign up by going to their website. The developers drop keys to the game regularly on their Twitch and YouTube channels, but just by signing up gives you a chance to receive a key via email, so I'd recommend doing that first. Soulframe takes place in a world called Midrath, where our player and envoy must protect nature against those trying to corrupt and destroy it. This game emphasizes exploration and features a more relaxed version of Souls-like combat that you would see in games like Elden Ring and Dark Souls, focusing on that dodge and hit playstyle with challenging boss encounters while still being more forgiving with its healing and checkpoints. When you first launch the game, you'll be greeted with a bird soaring through the battlefield toward a distant castle where your envoy's mother resides. This cinematic serves as the game's character creation screen for your player. You will be able to select your mother's skin tone, hair color, style, and eye color. You'll also choose whether your character will be a male or female. While these options are quite limited, with hairstyle selection not even doing anything for your in-game character, more customization features have been revealed and are expected to arrive in future updates. Upon completing your character, you'll be presented with the choice between 3 starting classes. These are known in-game as Pacts, and each Pact offers 3 main abilities. The first option is the Tethran Pact, a melee-based Pact. This Pact's ability include a buff that will boost your damage with each consecutive hit, a skill that enhances both damage and defense while drawing enemy attention, and a shockwave ability that will also increase your resistance to being staggered. The Tethran Pact will start you off with a sword named Wolder that will scale off courage, but don't worry about the scaling part for now, I'll talk more about that later. Next is the Oselda Pact, the starting caster class. Its abilities include an attack that will petrify enemies within a certain area, a skill that heals you and your allies, and a damage dealing attack that unleashes a flock of birds upon one enemy, repeatedly dealing damage. The Oselda Pact will start you off with a staff called Gwellin that will scale off of Spirit. Finally, there's the Siren Pact, a stealth-focused class. This pact grants you the ability to confuse and stun all enemies within a certain area, a clone that will divert enemy attention away from you and blows up dealing damage after a few seconds, and a skill that transforms you into a butterfly, making you temporarily hidden to enemies, allowing the opportunity of an escape or sneaking up on your enemy for a critical attack. This Siren Pact will start you off with a bow named Thistle, and that will scale off of Grace. If you've chosen a pact but you want to try one of the other ones, don't worry. You can still attain other pacts through different means, which I'll talk about later, but I won't go too much into detail on pacts in this video. I'll probably make a dedicated video on pacts sometime in the future. The starting pact you choose will also affect your starting faction. I'll talk more about factions later in the video, but if you want to learn more about them right now, you can skip ahead to this timestamp on screen and come back here later. Weapons and abilities in Soulframe are affected by attributes known as virtues, which consist of courage, spirit, and grace. These 3 virtues directly influence a weapon's damage output, determining how effective it will be in combat. Virtues will also influence your pact abilities, your courage generally increasing their damage, grace extending their range, and spirit enhancing their duration. However, this relationship is not consistent across all abilities, and not every ability in the game will follow this pattern. You can earn additional virtue points by increasing the level of your pact. There are also additional ways to increase virtues like your overall level. Your character's overall level, which I'll refer to as your player rank, increases by collecting various weapons and packs and leveling them up to 30, which is the max level for a piece of gear. This rank will slightly impact your stats, giving you 1 virtue point per level, and allocating a virtue point will also give you 10 hit points in turn. After choosing your pact, you have officially become a part of Midrath. You could take this time to start getting familiar with the controls, and the game will start prompting you to press certain buttons as well. One of the first being to summon your sparrow, which can be summoned with G on the keyboard or right on the D-pad on controller. Your sparrow acts as a sort of guide throughout the world, leading you toward the nearest point of interest based on your location. Another important button is Soul Mode, which can be activated by holding E on keyboard or left trigger on controller. Soul Mode can be used to highlight puzzles, points of interest, and has a variety of other uses that I'll go into later. You can change your keybinds in the settings, but I wouldn't recommend doing so until you're familiar with the controls and what everything does. Throughout the game, you'll come across these stone shrines, which will serve as your character's respawn points. If you die, your sparrow will appear at the nearest shrine, giving you a chance to fly back to the location where you died and respawn there. However, if you don't reach it in time, you'll simply respawn at the shrine instead. As of Prelude 10, there are no punishments for dying, but this might be changed in the future. During the tutorial quest, you'll be prompted to enter the Nightfold, which can be accessed by tab on keyboard or the select button on controller. The Nightfold is home to your companions, known as Ancestors, and there are currently 3 in the game, but more will come in the future. You will find these Ancestors around Midrath and bring them into your Nightfold. The first Ancestor you meet is Orlick, the Scribe. Orlick is your information gatherer, giving you a codex that will list all things to learn about Midrath. By collecting histories around the world, you can unlock motes with Orlick to increase your stats, and I'll come back to this later. The next is Verminia the Rat Witch, allowing you to customize your armor with a selection of preset color palettes. As of Preludes 10, this feature has no in-game cost, but this will likely be changed in the future. And the last is Tuvolcane the Blacksmith. She will allow you to craft pacts, weapons, and armors, and while pacts can just be crafted using materials you find throughout the world, weapons and armors will require gear fragments. I'll talk about how to attain them later, but if you want to find out right now, you can skip to the timestamp on screen and come back here later. An important detail about Tuvolcane is that some items require a specific bond level with her before they are able to be crafted. To level up this bond, you simply need to craft items you haven't made before, and with weapons increasing this bond significantly more than armors. Currently, this bond can be increased up to level 3. Another feature of the Nightfold is being able to customize your gear and virtues. You can freely allocate your virtue stats, allowing you to adjust them however many times you like at any time. Each weapon type and pact comes with its own unique skill tree known as arts, and these can also be freely allocated at any time, with the option to reset your skill tree if you don't like how you allocated it. Motes are another available method to further enhance your character. Currently, motes are items that can be equipped on weapons or packs to provide various buffs. As of right now, motes are attained by discovering the name of a specific location by collecting their histories. These histories can usually be found scattered around in towns, and appear as a yellow ball of light. You can grab them by entering Soul Mode, which once again is E or left trigger. Grabbing all of the histories in an area will unlock the name for that area, and unlocking a name for an area can award you with a mote. Not all locations reward motes, but if you're at one that does, you can claim it by opening the codex, navigating to the Locations tab, and clicking Claim Mote at the top. That being said, this system is actually going to be completely revamped in a future update. Instead of unlocking motes through the codex, you will actually be able to find and capture motes throughout the world. You'll be able to equip one mote per weapon, granting a special 4th ability based on the specific mote equipped. In addition to motes, the update will introduce runes, which will operate similar to the current mote system in that they provide minor stat buffs to your character's build. If you want more information regarding this upcoming system, you can check out the video linked in the top right corner. Finally, the Nightfold also features a loadout system, allowing you to save your builds and easily switch between them whenever you so choose. One of your first tasks in Midrath will be to cleanse a corrupted world tree. By interacting with the spear stabbed into the tree, you will pull it out, clearing out the corruption and returning the tree to life. Cleansing world trees will clear away the surrounding fog on your map, revealing a sizable section of Midrath. The world contains numerous world trees, and you can uncover more of the map by finding and purifying them. These trees also serve as a sort of message board for envoys. After defeating the first main boss and completing the first quest, players can write messages, react, or even reply to other envoys. You can also use world trees to view the packs of other envoys, and maybe in the future it will show their complete builds, but there hasn't been much talk in the matter, so we'll just have to see in the future. The quest system in Soulframe is quite interesting, in that you have to explore the world and stumble upon them naturally. Quest progression is not linear, meaning that you don't need to find them in any order either. I would assume that this isn't going to be the case for story quests, but it's hard to tell at this point. As of right now, you can stumble upon almost any quest in any order. There are 2 quests that can be unlocked after completing the tutorial quests, and those are an invitation, which unlocks factions, and the Steel Singer, which will unlock crafting. Since both of these aspects are vital to progression, I would highly recommend completing the tutorial quest early on in order to unlock these features. As for other quests, if you aren't interested in finding them yourself, then I'll share a few locations of where you can start them. If you aren't interested in this information and would rather play the game how it's meant to be played, you can skip to the timestamp on screen to avoid spoilers. To start the quest, the She-Wolf Ensnared, go to this location on your map and look out for an orange balloon. To start the Brewer of Hues quest, go to this location and complete the dungeon located there. After completing the quest titled An Invitation, you'll unlock access to your faction. As I mentioned earlier, the pact you chose in the beginning will determine your starting faction. If you choose the Tethran pact, you'll be put into the Kith of Kings faction. Choosing the Oselda pact will put you in the Alka's Children faction, and choosing the Siren pact will put you in the Silent Rose faction. As of Preludes 10, all of these factions function primarily the same, with the only difference being their available loot that you can purchase from them. Gaining standing with your factions allows you to purchase exclusive rewards from them, including the starter packs you missed, unique weapons, gear, and brand new packs. In order to level up and gain standing with your factions, you'll need to complete missions with them, and these missions are called Faction Tales. These are essentially mini quests that will appear randomly throughout the world. When a tale appears on the map, you'll notice 1 to 3 stars beneath its icon. These stars indicate both the length of the tale, its difficulty, and the amount of standing you'll gain upon its completion. For example, a 3-star tale will have more steps than a shorter one, but will award you with more standing in return. Your current faction is represented by your totem, which you receive when you're choosing your starting pact. You can also switch factions later by obtaining an item called a Sacred Shimmer, which allows you to craft a new totem representing a different faction. This item is available as a reward from all factions, but it takes time to acquire, due to you having to be at least rank 3 with your current faction and requires 24 hours of crafting time. Once you've crafted another faction's totem, you can swap between them freely, but as of Preludes 10, you can only do it once every 7 days. The main way of attaining loot in Soulframe is through chests. Chests can either be common or rare and will contain a variety of loot including materials, gear fragments, and Midrath's currency named Drax. As of Preludes 10, Drax have 2 uses, which are purchasing items from a merchant called Avocot and crafting gear with Tulvakane the blacksmith. In a future update, a merchant ancestor named Kaban is said to be introduced, and we will probably be able to spend our Drax with him as well. Chests can also be found in the dungeons of Soulframe. As of Preludes 10, there are 2 main dungeon types excluding the new event, the Undercity and the Glades, and each type offer distinct rewards that are exclusive to that dungeon. You'll need to discover these dungeons as you explore Midrath. A key indicator that you found a dungeon is by spotting one of these 2 distinct door types that mark their entrance. As a side note, I also wanted to mention that you should break any barrels and boxes that you find when exploring Midrath, as they often drop a large amount of materials and Drax, and will save you a lot of time in the long run when getting materials and Drax for crafting. Soulframe also has special events. For example, an event currently happening at the moment is the Crypt of the Circade. I won't go too much into detail on it right now, but I'll make a dedicated guide to this event very soon. Since Soulframe is still in pre-alpha, it doesn't have a huge amount of content. Once you've completed every quest in the game, the general gameplay loop revolves around running and rerunning dungeons and faction tales to get as much loot as possible. However, if we were to compare this game to Warframe, then we can get a general idea of where Soulframe is headed for the future. Warframe has had many ups and downs, but in its recent years it has mainly focused on getting 1 to 3 decently sizable updates per year and 1 really big update per year, with a bunch of hot fixes, minor updates, and events sprinkled in between. It can be assumed that Soulframe is most likely going to follow a similar pattern, but instead it might favor smaller and more consistent updates to make up for its current lack of content. Monetization is also something to be concerned about, as Soulframe is going to be free on launch. Warframe has done a really good job of making a free game with no content paywalls. Its monetization is focused around its in-game currency Platinum in order to purchase cosmetics, rush crafting, or even purchase gear outright if you don't want to farm it. That being said, the main reason Warframe's business is so successful is its player-to-player trading economy. If you don't want to purchase Platinum, you can simply farm rare gear, sell that for Platinum, meaning you can get as much Platinum as you want relatively easy, and you can use that to purchase whatever cosmetics, gear, etc. that you want. Even with that said, there is not a single piece of gear in Warframe that can't be attained by just playing the game, except for maybe 3 items that came with the Founders Pack when Warframe first released 13 years ago. It's currently unclear how Soulframe is going to handle its monetization apart from rushing crafting, but judging by how it's handled Warframe's monetization, we most likely have nothing to worry about. Even if it is in pre-alpha, Soulframe is shaping up to be genuinely a fantastic game. Digital Extremes has been really open about their progress on the game, showing as much as they can on their channel regarding future updates, and honestly, things are looking really good. Soulframe's next big update will most likely be sometime after TennoCon, which is happening July 18th and 19th. And in the meantime, I'll continue to make guides on Soulframe, so if you enjoyed what you saw, there will be many more videos to come, so stay tuned in. Anyways, it's been the Frame Runner, thank you for watching, and hopefully more in the future.